Good afternoon. My name is Andy Hallman. Later, we'll hear about the Fairfield and Mount Pleasant baseball teams and the Washington softball team all sweeping their doubleheaders. But first, today's top stories. Washington's downtown was abuzz all last weekend as residents celebrated the 77th annual Ridiculous Days, courtesy of the Washington Chamber of Commerce. Rain on the morning of Saturday, June 1st, put a bit of a damper on some of the activities since it scared people away, and vendors reported worse sales than last year. However, by Saturday evening, the downtown's sidewalks were lined with children and adults anxious to see the parade. New this year was a kids' parade that allowed youngsters to get involved by dressing up and handing out candy without having to miss the big parade that came later. Washington Chamber of Commerce Director Michelle Redlinger said that although the drizzling rain Saturday morning lasted longer than organizers hoped, they felt the weekend was a success overall and that the event brought out not just a nice Washington crowd, but also people from neighboring towns. For instance, a new car show Friday night, organized with help from the Corn Country Cruisers, attracted people from Williamsburg, Muscatine, Iowa City, and beyond. The winner of this year's float contest was Atlas Molded Products, whose float featured elements from the Super Mario Bros. Nintendo game. Redlinger said the company made the characters, the tall green tubes, coins, and other items in its float from polystyrene, which they use in their factory. Redlinger said turnout was great for the street dance Saturday night, featuring the country band Tyler Rickton and the High Bank Boys. Redlinger wants to remind Washington residents that the Chamber will bring live music to the square every Thursday evening from June through late September in partnership with the Washington Farmers Market. Those performances now start at 5:30 instead of 6 like in years past, and the bands also play 90 minutes instead of 60. According to public safety officials, landlines across the state experienced an interruption of services which affected the ability to reach 911 starting Thursday afternoon and lasting into Friday, May 31st. In a news release, the Iowa Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management advised state residents and businesses to call or text 911 on their cell phones in the event of an emergency. The news release attributed the problem to an issue with service provider Lumen Technologies. Henry County Sheriff Rich McNamee stated that the initial outage affected a majority of Henry County, but by 4 p.m. Thursday, service was restored to most landlines. In an email, Washington County 911 Supervisor Kara Sorrells said the local government had tested phone access in several communities by Thursday afternoon and determined that Ainsworth and Crawfordsville were impacted by the outage. The Fairfield Police Department said on social media that locals reported the same problems over portions of Jefferson County too. A representative from Lumen Technologies told WHO 13 Thursday morning that the outage mostly impacted central and eastern Iowa. A Midwest Precast Concrete employee has been arrested on charges of theft. Mount Pleasant Police Department conducted an investigation at Midwest Precast Concrete facility last week after receiving reports of theft and arrested William Mata, 31, of Mount Pleasant. According to court documents, Midwest Precast Concrete production manager Matthew Moley provided the police department with security camera footage which showed Mata entering the building at 11:42 a.m. and using a crowbar to break into a tool cabinet. The defendant is then seen on security camera footage taking what is believed to be a Milwaukee Impact driver valued at $300. In addition to evidence of theft, Moley provided Mount Pleasant police officers with still images of identification cards, which included an Illinois identification card and social security card in the name of Jose de Jesus Garcia. Mata's preliminary hearing is set for Friday, June 7th at 9 a.m., and Mata is currently held at the Henry County Jail on a cash-only bond of $10,000. When a deer, some beer, and a house crossed paths on Wednesday, May 29th, it resulted in a single vehicle collision in Hillsborough. The collision between the vehicle and a house occurred around 8:30 p.m. that day when emergency personnel responded to reports of a single vehicle accident in the 1200 block of Salem Road. The report stated that the driver of the vehicle swerved to avoid a deer and traveled off the road and into an unoccupied house. The driver of the vehicle was Trevor Schneider, 33, of Bonaparte. Schneider refused medical attention and no other injuries were reported. After a preliminary breath test sample indicated Schneider's results were over the legal blood alcohol limit, he was then charged with operating while under the influence, his third offense, which is a Class D felony. He also received a citation for failure to maintain control. Everybody who visited the Richland Firehouse Sunday morning left with a full belly. The Richland Fire Department hosted its annual Fireman's Breakfast that day and served a filling menu of pancakes, bacon, sausage, eggs, biscuits and gravy, and even a donut for dessert. The event is the largest fundraiser for the fire department to go along with its annual soup supper around Halloween. Richland Fire Chief Mitch Ehrenfeld, who has been a firefighter for 20 years and the fire chief for the past 12, said he was pleased with Sunday's crowd, though he didn't have a head count of attendees. He said the breakfast normally draws 350 to 400 people. To prepare for such a large crowd, the fire department purchases 2 whole hogs for their sausages, plus nearly 60 pounds of bacon. Firefighter Jacob Wunderlich said they ordered 105 dozen eggs, that's over 1,200, for their scrambled egg, usually cooking about 48 eggs at a time on their griddle. Ehrenfeld said the money raised at the fundraiser goes toward the day-to-day operations of the fire department. Those are today's top stories. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll hear about the doubleheader sweeps on the Diamond this past weekend.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Hello and welcome back to Newsbreak. This is your sports editor, Andy Kressinger, with your sports report for Tuesday, June 4th, 1 month away from the country's birthday, everybody. Go get your presents. 2024, and we're going to talk a little high school summer sports, baseball and softball heating up. Why don't we start with a little SEC baseball, where the Mount Pleasant Panthers are 5-0 after a couple of conference wins against Keokuk last night, 13-3 and 7-1. I know that JC Sitar had 5 RBIs in one of those games. Mount Pleasant swept Washington in SEC play last week and is now 2/3 of the way to doing that to Keokuk, 7-1, 13-3, as I said. They are in the lead in the Southeast Conference baseball standings, all alone right now, the only undefeated team. But the Fairfield Trojans are breathing down their neck after a couple of exciting wins. One very exciting win last night. So last week, Fairfield took 2 of 3 from Fort Madison, including a walk-off off the bat of Caden Allison, scored Kason Miller to win 5-4 over Fort Madison. That made them 2-1. Going into last night, they played Burlington, who was also 2-1. Trojans win 11-1 in game 1, and then a 6-run rally in game 2 ends up in a 12-9 win over Burlington. Burlington was up by 6, 8-2. Trojans win that one. Aiden Kruger gets the win in game 2. Dane Burkhart in game 1. Aiden Kruger, 5 RBIs, and that doubleheader did not have any wins from the Washington Demon baseball team last night. Demons have had some really close games. They just lost 13-12 last week in Mount Pleasant in a very high-scoring game. And similar last night, a 14-10 loss to Fort Madison. They also had a 5-1 loss to Fort Madison. So Panthers 5-0, Trojans 4-1, and right now Washington is 0-5 at the rear of the SEC baseball standings. Those teams will all play again on Thursday. Mount Pleasant will play Keokuk at home. Washington plays at Fort Madison, and Fairfield plays at Burlington. And that's the same in softball. And how's softball going? The Washington Demons, ranked number 9 in Class 3A, are 5-0. Had a couple of big wins last night over Fort Madison, 10-3 and 10-2. They beat Mount Pleasant 3 times last week. Take down Fort Madison 2 times this week. 5-0. They are tied for first place with the Burlington Greyhounds, who are 5-0 after a couple wins over Fairfield. Fairfield made the Greyhounds sweat last night. Defending SEC champion Burlington won the first game 13-0, but second game, Leah Helmick holds the Greyhounds to 2 runs all game. Trojans lose 2-1, so tough one there. They probably could have had that one. They're 0-5, as is Mount Pleasant in SEC baseball or in SEC softball. 6-2 loss and a 5-3 loss against Keokuk last night. Keokuk ace pitcher Ada Wood had 16 strikeouts in one of those games, so Panthers able to get to her a little bit as far as runs, but not enough there, and a lot of striking out in one of those 2 games. Oh, how about the small school world? Let me tell you guys, last week, Winfield Mount Union played at the Field of Dreams against Notre Dame. Kind of a thing that the Field of Dreams is doing is allowing a little more high school action ever since they kind of started to get more baseball played over there. They've had some MLB games. They do lose in that one. They're playing Notre Dame, who has not lost. They lost 12-0. Bounce back, beat Loizac Muscatine last weekend 10-0. And I'm going to rattle through some scores here. Hillcrest over Pekin 8-4 and 9. Pekin over Lone Tree 24-4. These are baseball scores, by the way. Highland loses to Grandview Christian 15-5. Kyoto over New London 14-10. New London over West Burlington 10-6. Van Buren County falls to Mediapolis 5-4. Mid Prairie beats West Branch 8-2. Cardinal falls to Albia 3-1. In softball, the red hot Cardinal Comets beat their 3rd ranked team of the year 13-2 over 13th ranked Albia. That's in Class 3A, by the way. Same rankings as Washington's ranked in. Cardinal, of course, is 2A. Then they beat Oskaloosa 4-3 and 9. Fall to Pella 7-1. Mid Prairie falls 5-0 to Wilton and 11-0 to West Burlington. Kyoto falls 26-9 against Montezuma. New London led in both of these games, but falls 6-1 to Holy Trinity, 13-2 against West Burlington. And breaking news, Pete Rose permanently banned from the MLB. I just got that notification on my computer. If you guys heard that little ding. Van Buren County 9-8 winners over Mediapolis and 8-1 winners over Holy Trinity Catholic. Winfield Mount Union 13-0 winners over Waco. That was the first time that rivalry game was played since 2016. Waco had to co-opt with Columbus. 13-1 is your score, and Hillcrest went over Waco. Hillcrest also beats Pekin 19-6. They are really rattling the bats over there in Kelowna. Wapello walks off Highland 2-1, and Wapello beats Columbus 12-1. So the Wapello Arrows beat a couple of our teams in the super duper north. And that's all we got for the sports report. We'll be back on Thursday with sports. But for now, stay tuned because Alex is going to have your obituaries for you on Newsbreak.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast.
Hello, welcome back to Newsbreak. It is now time for your obituaries. Michelle Ann Russell of Washington passed away on January 21st at the age of 63. Memorial service will be held at 1 p.m. June 7th at St. James Catholic Church. Lisa K. Kennedy of West Burlington passed away on May 25th at the age of 61. Kevin Lefty New of Mount Pleasant passed away on March 3rd at the age of 63. There will be a remembrance gathering on June 8th from 1 to 3 p.m. at Olson Powell Chapel and Crematory. Janice Elaine Oberman Krabill of Scottsdale, Arizona passed away on May 22nd at the age of 87. James Pfiffer of Washington passed away on May 30th at the age of 73. Funeral services will be held at 10:30 a.m. June 7th at St. James Catholic Church. Robert Bob Eugene Glipsy of Fairfield passed away on February 25th at the age of 94. William Bill F. Wilson of Ainsworth passed away on June 1st at the age of 85. A graveside service will be held June 7th at 11 a.m. at Oregon Township Cemetery in Ainsworth. That is your news of Southeast Iowa. I've been your Alex Snyder. This has been your news break, and I will see you next time.